Precision etiquette.
A meter with the capacity to measure very high resistances is called A ammeter, B digital voltmeter, C analog voltmeter, D mega.
D. Megar.
A megameter is an instrument that can detect very high resistances in millions of ohms.
A technician would use a micron gauge to measure A. Suction pressure, deep vacuum, C. Discharge pressure, D. Electric current.
B. Deep vacuum.
A gauge used when it is necessary to measure pressure close to a perfect vacuum.
If a technician has set his Ohm meter to RX 100, he would be measuring A. Resistance, B. Voltage, C. Amperage, D. Capacitance.
A. Resistance.
A Ohm or multimeter is an instrument that will measure voltage, resistance, and milliamperes. The RX 100 scales refers to resistance.
When checking resistance through a motor winding, the proper instruments to use would be A mega, B voltmeter, C ammeter, D ohmmeter.
D. Ohmmeter.
An ohmmeter or ohm would be used to check the resistance of a motor winding.
An ohmmeter will measure infinite resistance when testing an A open fuse, B open contact, C closed contacts, D both A and B.
On any circuit that is open, an ohmmeter will have an infinite reading. D. Open fuse, open contacts, closed contacts, both A and B.
On any circuit that is open, an ohmmeter will have an infinite reading.
If a technician has placed his Ohm in parallel with an energized load, he is probably checking A voltage, B resistance, C amperage, D ohms.
A. Voltage.
Out of the above choices, voltage would be checked across an energized load in parallel. In order to check resistance, the power would need to be de-energized and the load isolated so the resistance could be checked. If you were checking amperage, you would connect your Ohm in series.
When a technician is checking unknown, he should always set the instrument to the highest scale to prevent damage to the meter. Voltage, B amperage, C ohms, D both A and B.
D. Voltage, amperage, ohms, both A and B.
If you are using an analog instrument, you should always set the instrument to the highest setting to start. Digital meters are more forgiving, but it is still better to follow the same practice.
If a technician has placed his Ohm in series with the load, he is probably checking A voltage, B resistance, C amperage, D ohms.
C. Amperage.
Out of the above choices, amperage would be checked in series with an energized load.
Which of the following instruments would be used to check the condition of insulation on a motor's windings? A ammeter, B ohmmeter, C voltmeter, D megometer.
D. Megometer.
A megometer is an instrument that can detect very high resistances in millions of ohms, and is used to detect the condition of a motor's winding insulation. As the insulation degrades, the resistance will decrease.